On tap, Edmund Fitzgerald. Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. Today, we're tasting Edmund Fitzgerald from the Great Lakes Brewing Company in Cleveland, Ohio. Edmund Fitz is a porter with 5.8% ABV and 37 IBUs. It has won numerous gold medals from the World Beer Championships and Great American Beer Festival. It was named after the largest ship to ever sink in the Great Lakes. The company says the beer has a complex roasty aroma with a bittersweet chocolate coffee taste. They add chocolate malt and roasted barley to the grain bill and Northern Brewer, Fuggle, and Cascade hops. Serve it in a pint glass or mug at 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Chef, tell us about the flavors in this beer.
You know, the flavors are very intense. I mean, you get a nice caramel chocolate, you get a nice coffee flavor. I think there's a lot of great nuances with it because you can pull out a little bit of sweetness, then you can get the chocolate and you can get the coffee, and then it's got kind of a dry finish to it. But all in all, I mean, the flavors are really, really prevalent and just nice flavors.
Okay. Joby, what kind of aromas are you picking up in here?
James, we really have to use your sniffer here and really pull a big whiff out of it, but you do get that strong coffee smell. I mean, if you just kind of puff on it a little bit, it's kind of a weak chocolate, malty, caramel. Once you really do get your nose down deep in there and pull it out, it's definitely a strong coffee.
Mark, you were the one who poured for the shooting. Mm-hmm. Tell us about pouring it and the head and that sort of stuff.
The pour of the beer was pretty standard. You know, we tried the straight up pour, we tried the tilt pour, and the hardest part about it was when we actually poured the beer, it started out just like any other beer would, but the head actually started forming a whole lot quicker in this beer than it did with other beers, which was kind of tough to contain, and it ended up actually pouring over the glass, which I thought was weird. But, you know, after the head settled, we ended up trying the beer. I mean, it feels very smooth.
Do you think there's a correlation between, like, the pour and the head and the mouthfeel? Like, is it, like, lively in the mouth?
I mean, the mouthfeel of the actual beer has, you know, a little bit of carbonation to it. You know, it's a little rougher than I would expect with a head like that, but it actually turned out pretty well.
Okay. Adam, what is your rating? And is this for you, is this a good example of a porter?
My rating's a 9. I think this is an excellent example of a porter. I really think that Great Lakes does a great job with this beer. Again, there's a lot of complex flavors going along with it, but I think there's a nice balance of flavors. You get one, then the other, then the other. You know, if you're looking for something with a nice, robust, very hearty, mealy kind of flavor, this is the beer that you're going to go with.
Joby, what do you think of Great Lakes in terms of like the Ohio beer scene?
I mean, James, when you think of the Ohio beer scene, you have to think of Great Lakes up there at the top, if not at the top. I mean, definitely for me, the best thing to ever come out of Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, this is probably the best widely known across the nation brewery in Ohio. And this is probably one of their staple beers. Another great example of the style, you know, great porter. It's refreshing. Normally you want to go to porters in the colder months, you know, winter, fall, but I think you can enjoy this any time of the year. I mean, here in the dead of summer, we're enjoying this, and I could, you know, have 2 or 3 more and still enjoy it. So yeah.
Should I turn the air conditioning off?
You might as well.
Okay. Did you give me your rating?
Give it an 8.
Okay, Mark, what's your rating?
8 through and through. Okay. I mean, it's just it's a great beer, and you know I'm gonna have to back these guys up a little bit. I think that Great Lakes Brewing is kind of quintessential to the Ohio craft beer scene, and I find it pretty incredible that Great Lakes has always been so, I don't know, I guess just good at doing craft beer that are not only authentic to the style, but they also bring in a little bit of history to their beer. And you know, we'll use the Edmund Fitzgerald as an example. You know, a ship that sank in, what was the Lake Superior?
Lake Superior.
Yeah, and you know, they also have their, you know, Burning River pale. Is it pale ale, right?
ale,
You know,
yeah.
to commemorate the actual burning of the Cuyahoga River, and so you just a lot of cool things that they do to commemorate certain things that have happened throughout Cleveland across the years, and I just think that's really
James,
neat.
I want to piggyback on that whole deal. I think that this was something that was taught to me a while ago when dealing with breweries or wineries or anything like that. I think if you can say that at least 75% of the beers or the wines that you taste at a specific location are good, then that's something that you would recommend everybody else to go to. And Great Lakes, as a brewing company, not just Edmund Fitzgerald, but their whole line of products. I mean, I've had all of their beers, and I think they're all phenomenal. I think they do a great job, very flavorful. None of them are off-putting. I think they all have good specific flavor characteristics.
Even some of their rarities that they hardly ever bottle, Grassroots Ale, I think is really great, and Glockenspiel was one of my favorites. I mean, Christmas Ale has always been my absolute favorite, and then Blackout Stout has always been a pivotal go-to stout for me.
I think from a Christmas scene, I mean, Great Lakes Christmas Ale has been like one of the staple Christmas ales.
Right.
I mean, you got a lot of Christmas ales and a lot of holiday seasonals that are coming out.
That's my
Christmas
favorite
time.
Christmas
But
seasonal beer.
Great Lakes Christmas is great. I mean,
We should
props.
review that one
I think
this
we should
winter.
review that.
Still, props to Great Lakes Brewing Company for brewing great beers. Every single beer that they produce, that I've had, has been solid in their own characteristics.
Right. I mean, if you ask craft beer drinkers outside of Ohio, and they said, what's the first thing you think of when you think of Ohio craft brew scene? And they said Great Lakes Brewery, we could be doing a lot worse.
Yeah, one cool twist to this beer is, they use a lot of English ingredients to pay tribute to the style, but then they finish it with Cascade hops to give it like an American twist, which I thought was a pretty neat thing.
Yeah.
But, still brewed under the purity law, which I like.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is fantastic, yeah.
Edmund Fitzgerald gets an 8.3 on the BBA scale. Come to Ohio and try it for yourself. I personally think it's delicious. I recommend it and regularly have it in my fridge. Thanks for watching. I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority, Better Beer Authority, Better Beer Authority.